G'day everyone, welcome back to Adelshoven. We're here in March. It's a fine sort of a day, but it's chilly. You can see the frost on the pasture there. It's currently -8. It will warm up in a couple of hours. But we've had to stay fairly fluid and relaxed in terms of thinking about what to do. The plan very much is to get our potatoes planted in this field. However, I was looking at the field condition. Well, in fact, I walk onto it, it tells me the field needs lime. And we're not playing with precision farming, so it's just in standard mode. And if I go into the map here and turn it on, and sure enough, we need to lime the whole field. So that's a bit of a setback of sorts, because we don't have a piece of equipment to spread lime. Doubt that we'll be lucky, but we can have a look in the shop secondhand menu, and there are a range of interesting things that baler, but they're all really out of our price range. So nothing to help us out there. I need to cut some more grass so we can get our silage going, but with the frost that's around, that will have to wait till later in the day. So I'm thinking that the first order of business needs to be the getting something to spread some lime. You'll remember the plan is to buy field 10, which is over here. Which is 24,000. We're just on 5,000 short, and the plan was to buy that and put some grass into it. Now, the only problem is, if we look at it in here, you can see that there's been some sunflowers planted in it. Now, that's not the end of the world. But it does kind of change our plans a little bit, and as the sunflowers won't be ready for harvesting for another 5 or 6 months, it reduces the urgency to spend our money in that way. So we need to have a bit of a think about what our shift in priorities will be. But meanwhile, let's head down to the shop and get ourselves something to spread some lime. Fortunately, there's a lime fill point just over the road at the animal dealer, so we can take advantage of that. Yeah, so the change in priorities for that field, the main impact of that is that we won't get our own grass field going in the short term. There are some existing grass fields on the map, but I'll show you in just a second. They're just a little bit out of our reach price-wise, so we're going to have to make do with continuing to mow the verges. Now, that works fine. We've got some good yields off that, and we do have to grab another forage wagon when we're ready to do that. So we'll just pop in here and check a few things out. So let's have a look for lime spreaders. I think we only need something quite small, because it's looking like we won't Yeah, see, they're all quite large. That's a bit, the Amazon one's smallish, but got a huge spread, more than we need in that field. The Kombutas, well, these are looking a little bit more interesting. These little ones, 6,000. There's an older style lizard and an older style Vicon. What's the Vicon? 18 meter spread, does both fertilizer and lime, which could be handy down the track. The lizard holds a fraction less, has a higher spread. I think I am inclined. I quite like the look of this one. And if need be in the future, we can put an extension on it. Well, in fact, it might be worth getting the extension on it for the lime. I've got no idea how fast it'll burn through lime, even on that little field. Support wheels, probably not necessary. 3,700, I think we go for that one. So that'll do us. As I said, we can get lime because it'll take more than a bag, I think. Well, we'll fill it back at the animal dealer. I think that'll be the best strategy. So there it is over there. Now I was also going to show you the fields. Just back on here and connect, hopefully. Just straighten that up a fraction. Handy little panel there that we can see. Okay, now if we have a look at the field situation just a little more closely. So this is the grass field that we wanted to, the field we wanted to buy and put grass in at 24,000. I still think we'll buy it a bit later on, but it's just no real need to buy it today. If we look at 32, which is an existing grass field, that's 100,000. So it's quite a bit out of our price range. And down the bottom of the map here, we've got a couple, one with some little forested area attached to it, which is $500,000, and another which is about 75. So there are some choices. This field's about 33, but they're all just a little bit out of our price range at the minute. So what I'm thinking is that we make do with what we've got just for the present, and that the little bit of cash that we've got there, potentially we look at a little production that we can use these sunflower seeds that we're growing. So, you know, it'd be a big step to buy into the oil mill. But Omatana's farm productions pack allows us to place a little building that can deal with small volumes of canola or sunflowers or olives, and process those into oil. And I'm thinking that that might actually work really well for us. We could potentially fit it into the landscape just on the side of our block there, and pop out or use our garden to produce sunflower seeds and make some oil, which would contribute nicely to the monthly income. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. But before we get to that, let's get some lime on this field, and hopefully by then the weather will have, or the temperature will have increased, and we can move on to some planting. So there we go. It wasn't too expensive. Okay. With any luck, this will enable us to just pop down there without too much trouble. I'm hoping the spread will be enough for this little block. Quite. But it'll solve the problem. We can take care of the lime without too much difficulty. We've got another piece of equipment, so we're starting to get ourselves organised. And now we can set about putting those potatoes in. Pop this. I might just leave this on the end of the row just here for the minute. So what I was talking about with the with that little production, if we go into our menu here, fruits, what's this one? Dairy. I'm thinking this one, it would be 10,000. The building style is in keeping with the map, and which way around? I think all the action is out the front. We probably should check that actually. So let's just turn the markers on. Interactive zone markers are on for a second. And go into our production. Right, so just as what we did check. So they're at the end and the front. So how are we going to do this? Could we put it on this side? Potentially, it'll fit back maybe under the tree there. Perhaps. Yeah, that might. If I turn the zone marker off. Oops. Let's try hitting the correct key. So we could put that just down like so. doesn't appear to have created too much mess. Just beside the road there. I think that will do the trick. And so then what we can do is we'll put our potato planter on. And we can fill our potato planter, but we can also pop some of those sunflower seeds into our new production. So this guy here, let's jump out and grab our forklift. There we go. We've got plenty to do, it's just they're little jobs at the present. So if we took one off the end here, let's pick it up crossways actually, because I'm pretty sure we won't get a whole pallet in the planter. Don't know how big these pallets are. We're about to find out. Thousand litres. I'm pretty sure we're not going to get 1,000 litres in the planter. We'll probably need a few of these, a couple of these to plant. Filled out. Let's see here. Moment of truth. Will it actually take them as seed? Yes, it will. So you can just sit over here. Let's go and stick a row down the edge here. It's just gone 8 o'clock, so that it is certainly warming. There's no frost evident on this piece of ground. Let's lower us down. Have to turn it on. Not evident. Let's have a look at the help menu here. It needs to be unfolded. Right. That puts the pillars down into the field, and let's see how we go here. That seems to be doing the trick. A bit dusty. We might wind the dust scale back just a fraction so we can see what we're doing. There we go. So that is pretty straightforward. The vagaries of the Giant's engine, we're doing the hills at a bit of an odd angle across the field to our direction of travel, but don't look too closely at that. Just sort of half squint. it'll be fine. And we can see we're probably going to need 10 trips, I'm guessing, up and down the field here. Not the fastest job I've ever done, but that's not a problem. And 2 trips looks like it, or a full lap gets us about a third. So we're probably only going to need a couple of, well, 1 or 2 crates of these potatoes. So as I anticipated, the open garden is a bit too prolific, so we can either sell the excess potatoes, or potentially, when we generate a little bit of income from the oil, look at a similar production that can process the potatoes. There's the same type of building. You can produce, I think, French fries and premium potatoes. So, of course, the other alternative that we have is we could switch production to just sunflowers and go with the production we've got. If you've got a preference, how about you take a minute and put a comment in. I'm interested in your point of view, and there's, you know, no, it's not a right wrong answer sort of thing. What would you prefer us to do in this situation? Either path is going to generate some income, which we can then use to get on with building our empire here. Kind of feel like I should be sitting on one of those old school no cab tractors to do this job. I'll just get that bit across the end there. Is where this pass underneath, we might as well grab some more seed stock. It feels good to be getting some rock in the ground. Is that going to trigger there? No, it's not. Just parked at the wrong angle. It's not going to let me unload unless I'm in that. There we go. Yeah, no, this feels like we're making some progress here. Albeit on a very little field. As I only joined the farm sim community back in December, this is actually the first time I've planted potatoes. Made plenty of gameplay, but this is the first attempt at potatoes. I've spent a couple of long evenings harvesting potatoes, having taken a contract that I didn't really know I was getting into on a different map. But in this instance, we're doing the whole job ourselves, which is great. I think there's also, so we went up to the, and made our first deliveries to the wholesale store the other day. The mod pack that's a part of, as far as I can recall, has a production. It's a bit more expensive, up in the sort of $70,000 or $80,000 range. That processes a variety of products. So we might look at that down the track, because I think it's got quite a few potato specialty products. One of the other interesting things that allows you to do is that, being a wholesaler, it has some mechanisms for distribution that are all built in. So as you expand the empire, you're not spending all your time on the trivial processes, but we'll explore those. Well, the transport processes. So we'll explore that a little down the track. But in the meantime, this is coming along quite nicely. And will mean that, with any luck, we'll get this job done quite quickly. We're not going to be able to plant any grass today, which was really the original plan. So what we might do, assuming all this frost clears, is build up a bit of a stockpile of cut grass around the verges on some of the circuits we've cut before. I might time lapse or some of that, or do it off camera, and see if we can get a bit of a stockpile in our silage to get our income kicking along. Because finances are getting a little bit tight. As we crawl down the field here. Yeah, hopefully we'll have enough produce to just be able to kick up our finances enough to lease another forage wagon. I did want to go a little bit larger than what we had, but we might struggle. We have got a little bit left in the silo there, I think. And maybe the sale of that will be enough just to get us over the hump. We can have a look at that in just a minute. Certainly taking a while for this frost to clear. now that we're into spring, our wool production should start to increase a little, and the other production facility that I'm keen to add to our empire is a spinnery. I'm not sure if we'll buy the one that's already on the map, or if we'll add our own. I'm kind of inclined. It's a bit of a hike, and I'm liking our ability to build up the sort of center of town here. So I'm thinking that potentially there's a spot that Taylor's is at the other end of the field. We sort of drive up towards it in a minute, and it does make some sense to me. We're out of potatoes. Yeah, so that's the Taylor's building right in front of us there. It makes some sense to me that potentially we could put a spinnery on that piece of land just beside it, and make our life pretty convenient in terms of delivering wool. This won't quite finish this box of potatoes. 14 litres. Okay. Only just a little bit to go here. I really like this 3670. It's a very handy, versatile, all-round tractor. It's working out very well for us in this situation. It's quite interesting. There haven't been many tractors come up in the second-hand sale, so we've luckily we weren't relying on that to be able to keep going, and I'm hoping that at some point not too far in the future we'll start to get on top of our financial position and be able to make more use of the second-hand equipment as it comes up. Just missed that little bit there. Okay, let's get that little dot there. That's probably upsetting anyone with mild OCD in our community. Just a couple more runs should finish it off just nicely. Temperature's taking a while to warm up. We're still showing frost on the ground, so it was definitely a good choice to get this part done first. We do have some liquid fertilizer there, so we could, don't know what the fertilization state, it's probably none, so we could throw some fertilizer on the field as well. having ploughed it the other day, we shouldn't get any weeds. So that's one task that we won't have to worry about. Okay. Tiny little bit and then we're done. We might get that stripe on the side there. Just a little bit of the field that we missed on the first run down, hiding in the dust cloud. Try not to put a wheel through the side of the greenhouse. I think what we'll do, get that pallet off. We'll just empty those in there. Right, so now we can leave that for the just for the minute. I'm keen to get this production running. Because then we can just check what sort of returns to expect. We have got some produce there. Let's see here. There's one right down the end where we've got a little bit more space. Let's grab you. And we put those in there, and that will enable us to get the production started. If we come down, let's have a look in here. And so we've got our production. It's got 1,000 litres of sunflowers in there. So they're going to produce so 2 sunflowers, so 4,800 is going to produce 2,400 litres of oil, which is terrific. So that's all good. So if we activate that, it's only going to cost us $12 a month to run it. So we can put the rest of our, well, what we might actually do is move that trailer first. Where are we going to put this planter? Put this down here out of the way. And if we move that trailer, then we've got better access to the pallets. So I'm thinking if we put this just over here, a moment until we decide what we're going to do with it, we can get that trailer shifted. And this trailer has the fertilizer on this side, which we're going to need for the sprayer to be able to spray those potatoes. That's a little job we can take care of. It's not urgent that it happens today. We just pop this along here. It gets that one out of the way. While we're moving things around to get jobs done, we might as well empty the silage out of the fermenting silo there. Because that will then enable us, well, we'll see how much money we've got and whether we've got enough to organise a forage wagon. So we've got a little bit of grass, which I kept just so we could feed the sheep, and we've got 6,000 litres of silage, so let's sell that off and just see what that brings. Not very much, but it might be enough to organise a forage wagon. $5,000. So that is going to dictate what sort of forage wagon we're going to be able to get. We might just leave this parked here for the moment. We've got spuds for years, so certainly need to do a load to sell those off at some point in the not too distant future. But if we can at least get the sunflower seeds processing here, I think they're the more lucrative option for us at the moment. Okay, can we get that extra pallet on the front there? Maybe. Excellent. Trim that up. Okay. That's 4,000 litres of sunflowers, so we can leave that processing for now. Let's just have a look at the shop menu. Because we need something to pick up the grass. We can't afford a baler at present. And we could go back to the sort of forage wagon we had before, but I was really hoping we could get into something a little bit larger. That was 26. These are all a bit expensive. Epsiode. Here we go. What have we got here? So 29 meters. 40 meters, 190 horsepower. How much is that going to cost? There's an additive tank. We do not have enough, so we can't afford 102,000. So that's more horsepower than we can run. What's this? 29 meters. With the additive tank. We can afford that, so I think we'll take this one. It's just a little bit bigger than the one we had before. And that'll do nicely. So we've leased that. We're almost out of cash. Can pop you away. I'm going to need you in a moment. You're fueled up, so that'll be good. And I think before I forget, I think I will just park you on the side there. And put some fertilizer on those potatoes, because then that job is complete. Or rather, it'll be one load of fertilizer and we can potentially put the second one on next time. So let's run up and grab some fertilizer out of the tank. Let us fill it there. Yes, it will. Like last time, I've got to watch the left-hand side. Okay. So that's going to be 2 Turn you on. It's very hard to judge that. Still not. Excellent. So that will do that. There is a little bit at the other end there. Let's whiz round to the shop and pick that forage wagon up. I would send someone, but money's getting very tight. We're certainly going to fall into overdraft overnight, so we really need to get some silage happening. We do have a little bit of produce there to sell, of course, so very confident that even if we go briefly negative when our leasing payments hit, we'll be able to clear that very quickly in the next game day. That frost has taken a long time to clear. It's 10:30 now, but it's still very chilly, crisp. So still a bit early to mow, I think. Whilst I got the silage tank on this forage trailer, we don't think afford any additive for it. We'll have a look before we depart. I think the additive that I normally buy is about 5,000, so let's have a look. $3,000 for 60 litres. $178 for 25 litres. We could afford that one. 1,000 for 200 litres. 5,000, yeah, so it's 1,000 for 200 litres. So I think we'll just grab one of these for the minute. And then come back when we're... There it is. Be sure the tank's on this side. Refill it? No. Hello. Interesting. We can fill it from the ground. So I'll see you back at the yard. We can, well, probably need to wait for this weather to clear, so I might sign off for this episode, and you can catch up on how we went with the mowing in the next game day. So if that's the case, there's nothing more than to bid you adieu and thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. See ya.